is set to choose its candidate for the presidential election in 2023. Elected national delegates of party will tomorrow Saturday at the Abuja National Stadium. The PDP presidential primary 2022 is part of preparation for the 2023 general election, and 14 aspirants will be contesting for the party's ticket. A few days earlier, a strong aspirant and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, resigned from the party on Wednesday. The party says all is now set for it to hold a special convention to elect a presidential candidate. Political analyst Yemi Saka joins us to discuss preparations ahead the PDP presidential primaries. He joins us live in the studio. Good to have you join us.
It's nice to be back on set.
Interesting times. We see all that as the politicking around the country. We've seen the primaries for the
fallout.
Again, the National Assembly, and then the gubernatorial primaries as well. I mean, we've seen fallouts. Let me just get your thoughts on the primaries of the two major parties held, you know, in last 2 days, that of the APC and PDP, where there were rancor, disaffection or rancor in some states.
I think we could start counting states. Akwa Ibom, I know Cross River, some were disqualified, and you know, rightly, the screening panel or committee gave reasons why those aspirants were disqualified. In Lagos State, I still want to speculate that the courts will be very busy. Ogun State had two parallel congresses when you had Segun Shomi emerging from one and Ladi Adebutsu emerging from the other. While one went smoothly, the other that was there at the Obasanjo Presidential Library had some shootouts, you know, so I don't know what's going to happen. But the courts would definitely get busy after this, and I just hope the court can dispense of this pre-election matters before the election,
right?
Yeah.
Because again, if this continues into the election, we've seen states where somebody has already been sworn in, or somebody is about to be sworn in, and the court says, well, there was a challenge, so, exactly, so you have to get up. But let's look at some of these states where you mentioned Enugu. There is Abia, there is Akwa Ibom, and where some lawmakers had to step down from the race, saying that they did not trust the process. But that takes me to the fact that in some of these states, we saw Eyinaya Baribe in Abia State, we saw in Enugu State, the former Senate President Ike Kuremadu, former Deputy Senate President Ike Kuremadu. We saw in Akwa Ibom, Luke Onofio also stepping down, saying
I didn't know that. I think they had another power.
They can't be part of that process. But these were the lawmakers who worked on the Electoral Act, focusing more on not the statutory delegates, you know, but the elected delegates, thinking that would whittle down the power of the governor. But it looks like the governors have now taken over the state. Well, how do you also see this playing out in the presidential primaries?
Well, it's gonna. It's interesting times ahead. But for me, it's a lot. These parties will still have a lot of legal matters to sort out in court. Yes, like you said, the National Assembly came up with a law, but laws are, acts of National Assembly are meant to, deal with problems, not create more chaos. But for now, I think we had this section 8412. Now this is section 84 something, expanding the delegate list, and the confusion going back and forth. The presidency is still in court. The Supreme Court has reserved judgment on that matter. So we don't know. We probably still need to wait for the pronouncement by the Supreme Court to know where the pendulum will swing. Maybe a lot of exercise will be nullified. Maybe there will be a reordering of events, or there might be other some to conduct afresh. Or I don't know. The cloud is not clear.
What do you think of the PDP primaries ahead to Saturday, which is tomorrow? Because we see that one of the biggest names in that party has now resigned from the party. How do you expect that to go through, especially because they are throwing the ticket open, and so many people are not pleased by that? I
love that you could see me laughing mischievously when you say one of the biggest, I don't know, maybe to Nigerians, and I will say this on an international platform. Peter Obi appealed to the sentiments of Nigerians, but when it comes to PDP, within PDP, Peter Obi doesn't have such clout. That's the truth. Peter Obi as the former governor of Anambra State, probably you might want to equate him to the likes of Wike, or probably Dom Emmanuel. You can't compare Peter Obi with an Abubakar Bukola Saraki of the PDP. You can't place him side by side with an Atiku Abubakar, though those guys have moved out of the party and came back later. You can't even compare him to Senator Haim Parezai, who was the former Senate President and the former SGF. And as we speak, Peter Obi, since he joined PDP, has not been able to deliver his state to the PDP. Where you can say some representative or member of the National Assembly of the PDP, but the state governorship he hasn't been able to deliver. So when people say Peter Obi is a strong man in PDP, I laugh, I smiled, because I guess they don't know what they're saying. But as a Nigerian, and as a politician, he has done so well to appeal to the sentiments of Nigerians. He told Nigerians what they want to hear, and he reduced the problems of Nigeria to naira and kobo. Maybe that's
I'm told my time is up, because you said he appeals to the sentiment of Nigerians, and one would think that's what requires to win elections.
But he was campaigning for general elections, but not for the delegates.
I'm told my time is up. I wish we could talk about that. Political analyst Yemi Saka, thanks for talking to us.
It's nice to be here.
Let's turn to other stories.